Yo guys, what's up? After the American war in Iraq, it's time to discuss the domino effect of Operation Iraqi Freedom, ended by President Barack Obama in 2011. All over the north coast of Africa and in the Middle East, dictators were overthrown by the people during the Arab Spring or Arab Revolution starting 2011. It happened in Libya with Gaddafi and in Egypt with Mubarak. But also the Arab nations were involved in this aftermath of Saddam Hussein's removal, with Yemen as the best example. An attack on the Muslim citizens resulted in a jihadi civil war against the regime, and Syria was no exception. President Bashar al-Assad was notorious for his unforgiving rule over the Syrian empire, a country with numerous oil fields and an important partner of Turkey and Russia. Complicated for the West because of political issues and therefore a ticking time bomb after the US retreat from Iraq, where weapons and military equipment had been left behind to the Iraqi forces. President Obama had negotiated a peace deal with Iraq and Egypt. However, it didn't take long before actions were taken against civilians again. But this time the people didn't allow any more misconduct and terrorism. In Egypt, President Mubarak was replaced by Morsi and later by al-Sisi, and Iraq saw the same problems as Syria. Rebel forces fighting against the regime and terror of the army. Because of the hard footage filmed by local TV crews, many Muslim freedom fighters started to join the cause of their Muslim brothers in Syria. As time went by and more civilians were targeted by the regime, new reports came in about the deployment of chemical weapons against civilians, which made even more combatants join the rebel forces, even deserted soldiers of the Syrian army who were fed up with killing innocent brothers. Even President Obama had discussed the idea of giving military support to these rebels, but was denied by Congress, and also afraid of the idea that these weapons might fall into the wrong hands. Now, even though more people were fleeing across the Mediterranean Sea into Europe, the rebels suddenly received more support from a die-hard group of jihadis who completely misinterpreted the message of Islam to come over to Syria and kill opponents of Islamic State, formed out of a few dozen remaining jihadis from al-Qaeda and convicted terrorists who had been deliberately released from prisons by Bashar al-Assad. Islamic State immediately became a media brand and a feared terrorist organization. All rebel forces were put under their strict rule. However, the goal of Islamic State was not the freedom of the Syrian people, nor the removal of Bashar al-Assad. Their own Khalifa was their biggest goal, where their rules and laws called Sharia would become an institute, not only in Syria were they growing fast, but also in Iraq. Hundreds of fed-up Muslim youngsters were brainwashed by the idea of this paradise that was the Khalifa and joined the fights. After a number of Syrian prisons, Iraqi weapon depots, and Syrian army battalions had been raided, the true face of Islamic State was widely spread online, with mass executions and acts of torture against their prisoners. Mass beheadings became a standard, and all rescued prisoners from the jails were put under command of ISIS. With Raqqa as the capital, the Khalifa ruled for quite some time and became extremely rich by selling oil to Turkey, Russia, and the Syrian government for a cheaper price than the market value, because all middlemen had been eliminated. However, the swarm of Syrian immigrants into Europe and numerous terrorist attacks in Europe convinced USA alongside Russia to actively fight ISIS and to destroy the Khalifa, which ultimately ceased to exist in October 2017. A few dozen domestic jihadis fled Raqqa and escaped to Libya, leaving the remaining foreign jihadis to the mercy of the Free Syrian Army and coalition forces. A 6.5-year bloody war was finally over in October 2017. However, later there were more secrets exposed, such as the agreement between Putin and Assad in 2015 to target civilian areas where people supported neither Assad, neither the war. Russian air bombardments were used as a means to drive those people behind their president and the National Syrian Army. Also, Russia and Turkey had seen a few incidents following the exposure of the supply routes where oil trucks were spotted over a distance of several miles. Ultimately, it didn't look good, so USA came in and saved the day once again, with big merits going to the brand new president, Donald Trump. After the horror story in Iraq, another job well done by the US military. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one, guys. Peace.